POGO's mission is to partner to achieve the best childhood cancer care system for children, youth, their families, and survivors in Ontario and beyond. We are a non-profit organization with charitable status, and we are the official advisor to the Ministry of Health in Ontario on children's cancer control and treatment. We have lots of different amazing programs and things happening at POGO. Um, some of you probably are familiar with the programs and support systems that we have, like Interlink Nurses, our satellite clinics, aftercare clinics, the School and Work Transitions Program, and the Family Assistance Program. That's the one that most families know, the Family Assistance Program. We also provide education by way of webinars. We have nursing education days, an annual symposium, an aftercare day, and satellite education day. We collaborate with people around the world to create clinical practice guidelines and have advisory committees on things like oncology nursing, psychosocial services, palliative care, Indigenous children with cancer, and AYA care. And we also fund research and provide data for other people's research and reports. So, about the School and Work Transitions Program. So, this is most of our team. Sarah's from Ottawa. She's a little bit cut off there, but we're a provincial program open to all qualified Ontario and patients, and also those in Western Quebec who were treated in Ontario. So, it's patients and survivors, which is new. It used to only be survivors, but we've expanded to now also work with people who are on treatment. And we have counselors located in Ottawa, Kingston, Toronto, Hamilton, London, and a new position in Sudbury. And we do offer counseling in French. We have one bilingual counselor who works with people if they prefer to work in French. So what we offer is specialized academic and vocational counseling to support childhood cancer and brain tumor patients and survivors who are having difficulty with school and or work as a direct result of their disease or treatment. And the overall goal of our program is to facilitate a smoother transition from high school or from being off school or work to further education or employment. So to be eligible, um, people need to be 16 years of age or older and have been diagnosed with cancer before the age of 18. And the difficulties that are being experienced with school or work should usually be related to cancer or its treatment. The most common issues that we see are learning or cognitive challenges or some kind of physical impairment as a result of cancer. And we're also seeing these days quite a lot of people who have mental health diagnoses as a result of their cancer experience. I am based out of Sick Kids, so mostly I am seeing patients and survivors between 16 and 18. At Princess Margaret, my colleague sees mostly people in their early 20s, but we don't have an age cap. So there's no being aged out of our program. You can continue. We have some patients in their 40s and 50s who come to see us. And if people don't meet the criteria, we are very flexible about that. And we pretty much always will give at least a one-time consult, even if it's not going to be ongoing work that we do. So our services specifically include help with post-secondary program selection and applications. So meaning we help with the actual program application process, but we also work with our clients about what's realistic program for them to apply for and be able to be successful at. We talk about things like what's the difference between college and university? Is an apprenticeship a possible direction to go in? Would it be good to do a foundation year at college first, just to get used to the idea and the experience of being at college and kind of have a chance to figure out what they want to do? So I'd say it's really important. If you only remember one thing, it's that the services that we offer depend on each client's unique needs. We know everybody has had a different experience with cancer and a different experience now. And so we do our work according to what each individual needs. For those who are applying to university, we help with what's called special circumstances applications. I won't go into a ton of detail, but basically it's a supplemental application where you can explain to universities why maybe your marks are a few percent lower than they would have been if you didn't have a specific challenge or extenuating circumstance. So that can help sometimes if, especially for people who are on treatment while they're applying or were in treatment during high school. We give guidance around how to access high school or post-secondary accommodations. So to get accommodations, um, a student needs to have had some kind of assessment, and then they can get learning or other accommodations in high school and in post-secondary. We share scholarship and OSAP information and give support around applications. So we have a handout we give about different childhood cancer specific scholarships, including the new OPAC one, of course, which we're all very excited about. And we also do help with the application processes and writing a personal statement. We do editing and give advice on things like that. Um, we do advocacy work for our clients and also support them in self-advocacy development. So sometimes we will be doing advocating for them, and sometimes we're supporting them to do their own advocacy. Um, we created a post-secondary transition guide. So over the summer, I meet with all of my clients who will be going to post-secondary in the fall. And we do some discussion. Sometimes if they're willing, we'll do some role playing in how to advocate for themselves to get their needs met when they're being treated as adults and they don't have their parents or other caregivers there to kind of speak for them. And I would say if there's one thing you want to get a head start on, it's to speak with your child if they have accommodations on why they have those accommodations and how does those accommodations help. Because when they get to post-secondary, accessibility services will not speak to the parents. They want to speak to the young adult, the student. And so they need to be able to express for themselves why they have accommodations and how they help them learn. We also will meet with school staff or employers. So for example, I had a client who was struggling in high school and who had had a neuropsychological assessment, but the school didn't know about it. And when I spoke to the school, they said, oh, we know that he had cancer, but that was a long time ago. That doesn't matter now. So they just needed some education on late effects of childhood cancer. I got them a copy of the assessment and the recommendations, so he was able to get his accommodations and be more successful and more understood at school. So we do the same thing at post-secondary. We sometimes go to accessibility services meetings with our clients just for support. We also help with identifying appropriate career options and goals. So a lot of times we will meet students in grade 11 who have no idea, or grade 12, who have no idea what they want to do or what they want to study. And we work with them to help them based on their interests and their strengths, kind of narrow that down and help to point them in a direction. And when I say appropriate, we also consider often from a neuropsychological assessment, but from other information we know, what is going to be career options or goals that each person will be able to be successful at. So for example, if a client has low processing speed, we don't want them to be looking for a job in McDonald's because it's just too fast, it's too overwhelming, and likely they're not going to be able to be successful. So we would help them in looking for a job that would fit them better. We also do job or volunteer preparation, including working on resumes, job search skills, and interview preparation. So we don't actually find jobs for our clients. We support them in the job search, which right now, as I'm sure you know, is not an easy thing to do, but we help them to plug away and keep looking for work. Services that we do not include, so finding or securing a job, going to interviews with them. We will meet beforehand and talk about what questions might be asked and that kind of prep, but we don't go with them. We don't refer them to things like housing or healthcare, things that a social worker or another medical professional would do. We don't tutor and we don't write academic accommodation letters. So that is basically, that is my introduction to our program. I just wanted to put a little plug in here. I know that OPAC is doing its own celebrating of CCAM with lawn signs and social media posts, and I've been following that, which is great. And I just wanted to let you know about POGO's awareness and fundraising campaign during Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, which is called Linked for Life. It was created by a group of survivors. I think it was about 5 years ago. And the idea was that we would create actual physical paper chains, each one dedicated to somebody who had cancer. So it's kind of grown into a fundraising campaign, but we also do make literal chains that are hung in all the pediatric oncology centers across the province. Maybe if you're in for an appointment, you will see them. So if you wanted to show support for POGO and get, you don't have to give money. If you're in the center, you can actually just make the chain. You don't have to give money, or you can go to our website if you want to make a donation to support POGO and all the work that we do. And that is how you get in touch with POGO, follow them, and that is my email address on the bottom. I think Sarai will share that probably as well afterwards if anybody wanted to get in touch with me. And that's all for my presentation, but I am here for any questions, comments, anything like that.
Thank you very much, Helen. That was very informative about the programs, so many great resources to support students and people entering the workforce as well. And I'm glad to hear that you support, there's no aging out, that you even
Yes.
support older people as well. That's great. And I wanted to know if there's anybody here that has any questions for Helen.
Hi, yes, I do. I was because my son is going to be applying to university now in November, December. And I had seen, I forgot which university. I went to their website and about giving in a letter to explain what he has gone through about his marks might not be that high because of he was going through chemo, right?
Mhm.
And this university actually has on their website, I'm going to find it actually, says if your child was, or if you were accommodated, then you can't submit anything. Is that normal or is that just
Yeah, so that started happening last year was the first time we noticed it.
okay?
I think it was, I can't remember which school it was that I first noticed it on,
Mm.
but I wrote
I think
a very
actually,
angry email to anybody who would listen at that school to say, if students get accommodations, it's not like that evens everything out, even if, anyway,
yeah, right.
you can imagine.
Psychological, right? There's all kinds of things
Yes,
going
there's all,
on,
yeah,
right?
and the message I was given was just do the form, do the application.
Form? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What I
Perfect.
always say for when you're writing that letter, and
Mm,
I'm happy to read it for you when if you're doing the application, but is so you want to talk about the challenges, but you want to also talk about how the student overcame the challenges to be able to do as well as they have.
okay, that's a good point. Let me write
Because
that down. Yeah,
you don't want them to think, oh, well, how are they possibly going to succeed in this program if they have all of this going on?
right, right.
So yeah, you want to show them that yes, they had all this going on and they've still been able
Yeah,
to be successful and kind of this is how.
perfect. Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any more questions? No. I will share your email with everybody who registered for the
Great. Yeah.
presentation, even those who aren't with us right now. But I'll also put this up on our YouTube channel as well. I was just looking up the question that we had received in advance about difficult, because I know the parents here who asked it about how do you talk to your child? I think it was about a difficult questions regarding education. I don't know if you
It
want to
was
talk. Yes, the
sorry,
Anya. Hi.
because like right now I'm also that parent that likes to do very angry emails, but very nicely, very
Yes.
professionally for the first couple of times, and then you get to see me in person. Um, because right now we're dealing with my daughter goes to a Catholic school board, and it seems like every year we have to do a new like explain like her accommodations and everything else, and it's like and that's I think my daughter's challenge right now is at some point, I guess my question was like, at some point, when does we have, when, my brain, sorry, at what point does it like not have to be like, is there a form or is there something? Because it's like for my daughter,
Oh,
she has to explain it every semester to all of her teachers.
yes.
And it's
Yes.
like, is
So
there, like, I would love for something to just be like, hey, this is my child. This is what's up. Please stop asking.
I would
And
love that also. It's pretty hard to come by, to be honest, in high schools. Um, it gets much easier at post-secondary because the student meets with someone in the accessibility services office and they tell the professors or the instructors, this student needs these accommodations. They don't need to know why, they just know that they have them. So it's not the student's responsibility to go and ask for them from each instructor. In high school, it can be a challenge. I mean, does your child have a CERT, a special education resource teacher?
Mm.
that is the other thing that, because it's ooh, breathe, Musa. Um, what the what our issue is we have we have the we have Air Vendor with Sick Kids, her liaison,
Yeah.
and she has sat in on every meeting. A problem is they're like, okay, we're gonna do this, and then they test her, and then they're like, well, she doesn't qualify for anything, and it's like, and but all of her teachers are like, you can, there are gaps, and there are lots of things, and like she missed out on 2 years of education, and it's frustrating because it's like we start meeting with people, but then they're like, well, she tested, so you don't get to meet with that person anymore.
Oh, like she's not bad enough to
Yeah,
get that support.
she's
Yeah.
not like, and it's one of like, for her, it's like, so I'm not dumb enough to qualify for services, but I'm falling behind in classes because my brain isn't doing what it needs to do.
Yeah. How old is she?
She is 14.
Okay.
She's stuffing her face with sushi.
That's exhausting. I mean, and to have to go up to each teacher and remind them, like, not all students can do that.
No.
And so 14 is too young for me, but I would be happy to chat with you if you want.
Yes. Yes, please.
I can't
'Cause
officially take you on as a client, but certainly I know our vendor well, and I could chat with her as well. But I would be, if you want to send me an email after,
yes.
I would be happy to chat with you another
Because
time.
I'm like, even if I just want to talk to a parent who's been in the trenches, and therefore I
Mm.
know, like, because it's my daughter's education, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
fight tooth and nail
Yeah,
no matter to
yeah,
get what she needs to make
yeah.
sure that she's successful. It's
So,
just, I kind of want to know like how many wrote, like, to prepare myself, I guess.
Harris,
I,
it's Louisa here. Like, my son, while he was going through his treatments, we met with the interlink nurse, came with me, and it sounds like you did the same, to meet with the VP of the school and the guidance counselor. And that guidance counselor, in my case, she was just like an angel sent from
mm,
heaven for me, because I would email her, she would email me, she would even email me on like at night, like, and she like, I told her, you're like my son's guardian angel. Like, she made like, the advice I would give is, if you can have like a guidance counselor that would support your daughter, and she would be the one, he or she would talk to the other teachers. So
Well, that was
my son never had to explain anything. Um, he had to wear a cap, like he didn't want to, he had lost his hair, so he was wearing a cap. And in Catholic school, you can't wear a cap, but he got that accommodation. So she made him a laminate like sheet card saying, if anybody asks you, you just show this, you
well, and
know?
that's like for my daughter, she needs a washroom accommodation because they only give you like 10 minutes, and then like that's not going to
I
be.
see. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the problem is both her guidance counselor and her vice principal, who we started this with, who were great, have all left the school.
Oh,
Yeah. I think
oh,
Louisa's exactly right. That was why I asked if there was a cert, because if you can find one person who'll be the champion,
Yeah.
but that doesn't always happen, to be honest. It depends
right,
on, it's a little bit of luck who you
right.
find.
Michelle, I see you're on camera. Did you have anything to say?
I did. I just thank you again, Helen, for presenting to our families. We appreciate it. It's such a wonderful presentation. I actually did have a question. My younger daughter is 12, so still a little bit on the younger side, but there is a lot of, so she's just entered grade 7. So there is a lot of um, high school conversations kind of taking place already in terms of the preparation. My question, and only because this has come up with one of my other daughters. I have 3 girls, so all on IEPs, all very different, but learning for both my 2 younger girls and Samantha specifically, my survivor kiddo, in terms of continuing education. So, what we've pretty much already been told is because of where developmentally she is, and kind of and what her IEP entails and where her learning is at, that after high school, that's kind of all she gets because of her grades in a way. So a university and college would be extremely difficult for her to be accepted. Is that true? I mean, I think I was a little deflated hearing that, thinking that her opportunities wouldn't be, there wouldn't be many for her
Is
after
that
high school.
people were telling you that based on her assessment?
So that is basically within when we do the IPRC meetings, and with guidance counselors. So I kind of got a little bit of that information with my second daughter. So I'm thinking, if this is what I'm hearing for her, what would that mean for my survivor kiddo who's extremely developmentally delayed, not learning at her grade level? So would that kind of give her less opportunities in terms of she wanted to, you know?
So we do absolutely, particularly with brain tumor survivors, but we do have survivors who, for them, like a regular college or university program could be too much.
Mhm.
There is a program, of course, like the name will come to me, but in colleges, which is made, CICE, it's called. And
Okay.
it's a one-year college program specifically for people with developmental disabilities. And so they have a chance to learn, there's some life skill learning and things like that. And then there is a placement, so they get some job experience. And so
Okay.
the idea is for them to be able to explore what would be a job that would be appropriate for them. Um,
Okay.
but I think,
Is that specific to that particular diagnosis, brain tumor diagnosis? Because that is not her diagnosis.
no,
It,
it's not.
it's not. It's
I
just
believe they just say developmental disability or,
okay. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Um, There are also work programs, so people sometimes go straight to work, like they would do a work program for people with disabilities and then kind of get a sense of what kind of job they would be able to do.
Sure.
Um, but I never want to close the door,
Mm,
and you've got a lot of years between now and then, who knows what's going to
sure.
happen.
Yeah.
There are some foundations level programs at colleges as well, like there's pre-health, there's pre-trades, there's a whole bunch that are like a 1 year standalone introductory year.
Okay. Okay.
And sometimes those are doable because they're kind of like an introduction to being in college, and then you get a chance to see if it's manageable or not manageable.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
or students can try a couple of college courses and see how they do. I
Okay.
I never want to say like we're shutting doors, there's no options, especially at 12. I
Yeah.
want to say that.
Yeah, and that conversation didn't necessarily take place for her specifically. It was more one of my other children, and that was a tad deflating
Yeah.
a little bit. And so I think I kind of started to think, oh boy, okay, so I've got my other kiddo who's in a totally different scenario and category. So does that mean that has even fewer options? So I think that's kind of why my question is that one. Yeah.
I mean, probably the options will be fewer,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean there won't be options.
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Have they had an assessment done at whichever hospital you're at?
Yeah, so we're at tickets. And so she's actually due for a reassessment in November, hopefully.
Okay.
That happens. So yeah.
With who, do you know who does the assessment?
Her assessment, I believe, is with Dr. Gruger.
Dr. Guger, Sharon Guger. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So you can absolutely talk to Dr. Guger about that.
Yeah.
She'll have a really good sense of like what the future may look like, or be able to, we work together a lot.
She's
So,
fantastic. Yeah.
yeah, she's pretty well educated about things like that, what the future could hold. So I would definitely follow up with her when you get that assessment done.
Perfect. Thank you,
Yeah.
Helen.
Okay.
Thank you. I just want to circle back to Deandria. Deandria, so I'll send you Helen's email so you can connect with her about your questions. And you had mentioned you want to connect with other parents who may have had a similar experience as you. So if you want to send me info@opac.org some more information, if you want, I can put it like an anonymous question up on our newsletter and say parent connection request. Sometimes we do that when parents have anonymous questions, they want to hear from our community to see, does a parent have a similar experience? What have you done? What has helped you? If you want to send me like a little blurb of what we should ask and see if anybody has any advice. So we can connect you with other parents too. All right.
That would be great, because I've tried to look on like Facebook and things like that, and it's just like, especially I think for being in high school, it's just a lot. And she's even nodding her head in agreement that it's a lot. So, and we're also at that stage of like, she's starting her, what's that? The trade, the class.
The co-op.
Oh my gosh. But she's starting to look at colleges.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, high school is a lot, full stop. And then when you add having to advocate for yourself and having to educate your teachers and all of that all the time, it can be overwhelming for sure.
Yeah. So we'll get you connected, Deandria, with Helen and with other parents, hopefully as well. So I'll be in touch with you about that tomorrow. Any other questions before we finish up? All right. I just want to mention OPAC. As Helen mentioned, we have our own, we have a list of scholarships, not just OPAC scholarships, but other scholarships that we've learned about on our website at opac.org/scholarships. And then we have our own OPAC scholarships for survivors, siblings, and parents. And that opens up again on March 1st. There's information on our website at opac.org/OPAC scholarship. And you can just kind of peruse there, see what we're looking for, and have preparation for when the scholarships open again in March. You can kind of have an idea of what we're looking for there. So just wanted to plug our OPAC scholarships as well. And of course, we're always here as well to help support parents, connect you with other parents, connect you with our parent liaisons like Michelle. And they're at Sick Kids, and also virtual drop-ins like this we have every week on Tuesday nights. So keep an eye out on our social media, and opac.org is our website with more information on our program. So anyway, thank you, Helen. And thank you everybody
Thank you
for
having
joining
me.
tonight. Yeah, it was great. And we'll be in touch tomorrow. I'll send this presentation to everybody. So thank you again.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thanks.
Good
Good night.
night.
Good night.
Bye.